I was fortunate to be very close to her. I was a chubby 2-year-old child at the time. Unlike my brothers, who were shy, I was rather fearless and had no hesitation in approaching members outside the family. Hence, these cooks would play with me and fuss over me. One day, Subalakshmi Ammal took me outside the kitchen, sat me on her lap, and fed me my lunch. I was holding 2 mangoes tightly in my hands. Suddenly, a huge male monkey that had seen the mangoes made its way towards me. Out of fear, I turned my face towards Subalakshmi Ammal. She came to my rescue. Wrapping her arms around me, she protected me from the monkey. She was fully aware of the danger she was exposing herself to, and sure enough, the monkey in his wrath bit off a chunk of flesh from her arm. Bleeding profusely, she handed me over to someone. All feared rabies, since there was no antidote for rabies at that time. But by God's grace, nothing happened to her. She was hospitalized and bore a deep scar on her arm for the rest of her life. I, of course, forgot about the incident. When I was older and I saw the scar on her arm, I asked her, out of curiosity, "What is this scar on your arm?" I felt very disturbed when I was told that it had occurred when she was trying to protect me. However, Subalakshmi Ammal comforted me by saying, No, do not feel sorry. I am very grateful to you because for many, many days after that, Bhagavan's attention was always on me. He would constantly inquire, How is your wound? Has it healed? His mere look saved me from rabies, so I am grateful to you. As I touched her holy feet, I said, You acted like the protective mother principle. How can I express my gratitude? Subalakshmi Ammal was very moved because I had used the phrase mother principle. She answered, Bhagavan's devotees are all protected by this mother principle. Even Bhagavan himself has referred to it quite a few times. However, the people who write about Bhagavan conveniently ignore this phenomenon because they cannot understand it. Bhagavan has referred 2 or 3 times to the mother principle operating in his life and influencing it. She narrated to me what Sampurnammal had told her. Sampurnammal had a dream one day. She dreamt that Bhagavan was seated in the hall, and next to him was a beautiful female deity whose brilliant light was dazzling. At the same time, she also saw a similar female deity going round the ashram and discharging her duties. She was puzzled by the dream, and therefore told Bhagavan the details. Bhagavan almost seemed to confirm her dream. He nodded and said, Yes, even when I was up on the hill, it was a woman who used to come and give me food. This person was, of course, Akilandammal, Desaramal. Bhagavan said of her, While serving food, she would place an extra leaf next to me. She would also serve food on the extra leaf. One day, I ventured to ask her, For whom is the extra leaf? She replied, It is for the mother. Bhagavan paused and then added, Akilandammal had a dream similar to yours. Subalakshmi Ammal continued, I have been a witness to another incident involving another devotee, Apu Shastri's wife. In those days, coffee was a rare luxury, and therefore many devotees who came to the ashram brought coffee with them, little realizing that Bhagavan did not particularly like coffee. Apu Shastri's wife brought a big vessel of the choicest coffee to Bhagavan. Bhagavan said, You know that I don't like coffee. Apu Shastri's wife said, What am I to do? I had a dream wherein Mother Parvati stood in front of the temple and beckoned me. She said, My son goes without drinking coffee. Make some coffee and take it to him. Do not blame me. These were Mother's instructions. Bhagavan had no choice but to accept the brew. He, however, commented, Mother has no other task than to interfere in my life and come in the way. This happened once even when I was up on the hill. I asked Bhagavan to recount the incident, which of course is now recorded in the ashram books. Bhagavan was staying on the hill. There was no set routine. At 8 in the morning, everyone gathered there would share the bhiksha food. The food would invariably be cold rice. Once this was done, they were all free to do what they wanted. Bhagavan would roam on the hill all day. So much so, he once commented, There is not an inch of space on the hill that remains untouched by my feet. On one such day, he found a rustic-looking woodcutter woman blocking his path. The woman had her legs stretched across the path Bhagavan was walking. Bhagavan stood there, hesitating. The woman did not pull back her legs. Bhagavan did not jump over the legs either, since it is against the Hindu custom. As Bhagavan stood hesitating before her, the woman hurled accusations at him and asked, "Why are you roaming around relentlessly? Why don't you stay put in one place?" Bhagavan took her words to heart and thereafter never moved from Skandastramam. Later, of course, he came down to Ramanastramam. Even there, he never stirred from the place except to take his occasional walks. Noticing my eagerness to query her further, Subbulakshmi Ammal added, "When we asked Bhagavan who that rustic-looking woman was, Bhagavan said, 'Who else is it except the mother principle?'" Emotional devotion welling up in me, I humbly requested her to recount how she felt about Bhagavan. She remarked, "To me, Bhagavan is the mother. It is easier to hold on to him firmly if one approaches him as one would approach one's mother. He was undoubtedly the most compassionate mother I have ever come across. Would there have been any hope of emancipation for me, an uneducated widow cast aside by society? He saved me from my state of lowliness by lifting me up with his grace and thus emancipating me." These outpourings of Subbulakshmi Ammal thrilled me because even today, this protective mother principle of Bhagavan is evident for the followers of Bhagavan. One only has to have ears to hear and eyes to see in order to understand this protective mother principle. Once, alluding to Lord Krishna, she told me, "Eons ago, the Lord came as a cowherd and liberated the simple milkmaids. In a similar fashion, Bhagavan took to cooking to save us ignorant women." I was moved by her approach to Bhagavan. I asked, how was she able to love Bhagavan with such devotion and totality? She said, "Do you know that even yogis and rishis of yore had to undergo severe austerities and penance in order to attain the state that Bhagavan would vouch us just by having us work near him in the kitchen? The small tasks that we did every day used to give us total bliss and light. We experienced ecstasy in mundane tasks such as grinding, cooking, and serving the devotees in the dining hall. How was this possible? He blessed us with his proximity, and because of this blessing, we reached the state where the mind merged in the heart. Our hearts were with him and in him, and he was in all the work that we did. A person who has not had this ecstatic experience cannot possibly imagine how much bliss a human heart can contain." She clapped her hands in complete adoration of her Satguru Ramana and said, "Bhagavan himself was our true goal, our home. To us, he alone existed. His radiant form was enough for us. One had to live and work with him to know what a great teacher he was. He taught us Vedanta, the highest truth in life, through the trifles of daily life. We were changed to the very roots of our being without being aware of the depth and extent of his influence. He led us to absolute wisdom through his infinite kindness." I prostrated before Subbulakshmi Ammal, who at that moment was a symbol of the mother principle. She saved this body, and because of all the sharing that she did, she gave me a glimpse into the realm of the kingdom of God.